Title 4. Extinction of criminal liability. Chapter 1. Total extinction of criminal liability. Article 89. How criminal liability is totally extinguished. Criminal liability is totally extinguished. 1. By the death of the convict. As to the personal penalties and as to pecuniary penalties, liability therefore is extinguished only when the death of the offender occurs before final judgment. 2. By service of the sentence. 3. By amnesty, which completely extinguishes the penalty and all its effects. 4. By absolute pardon. 5. By prescription of the crime. 6. By prescription of the penalty. 7. By the marriage of the offended woman, as provided in Article 344 of this Code. Article 90. Prescription of crime. Crimes punishable by death, reclusion perpetua or reclusion temporal shall prescribe in 20 years. Crimes punishable by other afflictive penalties shall prescribe in 15 years. Those punishable by a correctional penalty shall prescribe in 10 years, with the exception of those punishable by arresto mea, which shall prescribe in 5 years. The crime of libel or other similar offences shall prescribe in 1 year. The crime of oral defamation and slander by deed shall prescribe in 6 months. Light offences prescribe in 2 months. When the penalty fixed by law is a compound one, the highest penalty shall be made the basis of the application of the rules contained in the first, second and third paragraphs of this article. Article 91. Computation of prescription of offences. The period of prescription shall commence to run from the day on which the crime is discovered by the offended party, the authorities, or their agents, and shall be interrupted by the filing of the complaint or information, and shall commence to run again when such proceedings terminate without the accused being convicted or acquitted, or are unjustifiably stopped for any reason not imputable to him. The term of prescription shall not run when the offender is absent from the Philippine archipelago. Article 92. When and how penalties prescribe. The penalties imposed by final sentence prescribe as follows. 1. Death and reclusion perpetua, in 20 years. 2. Other afflictive penalties, in 15 years. 3. Correctional penalties, in 10 years, with the exception of the penalty of arresto mea, which prescribes in 5 years. 4. Light penalties, in 1 year. Article 93. Computation of the prescription of penalties. The period of prescription of penalties shall commence to run from the date when the culprit should evade the service of his sentence, and it shall be interrupted if the defendant should give himself up, be captured, should go to some foreign country with which this government has no extradition treaty, or should commit another crime before the expiration of the period of prescription. Chapter 2.